Hi everyone, this is Katie Bolin. I'm here to talk about the book that I chose for this class. It was I Wish My Teacher Knew How One Question Can Change Everything for Our Kids. It was by Kyle Schwartz. So I'm going to go through the topics that were discussed and talk a little bit more about this book. So what is the problem that is being discussed in this book? The problem that this book is addressing is that even though your student may be walking into your classroom with a smiling face, they may be dealing with harder things at home and just don't want to show it. So, this book was discussing multiple different topics going throughout, like students in poverty, how students are going through loss and trauma, and just different ways that we as teachers can support them and show them that we care for them. So the biggest problem that was being discussed was just the struggles that kids are going through throughout their school day. The major question that was being discussed is the question that was on the front cover of the book. Basically, if there's one thing that the student wishes their teacher would know, what would it be? So throughout this book, the book discusses many things that the student wishes the teacher would know based off the topics that was being discussed in that chapter. So how students can transition, or how teachers can support students transitioning from one county to another, or how students are dealing with poverty and how teachers can help them a little bit better. So basically that question was, what would one thing that you wish your teacher would know more about you? The purpose of presenting this book is to show other teachers some things you may not know that your students are going through. In this book, like I've mentioned before, it presents the hard times students are struggling with and how teachers can support those students. So me as a new or second year teacher, this was a great book that I read because there's still some things that I didn't know how to help students with when dealing with these hard things. And this book just basically kind of put me in the perspective of what these kids are going through and how I can help them a little bit more. And a quote that I pulled from a website that I was doing a little bit more research was, I wish my teacher knew is part of an inspirational tale about how teachers matter and have an incredible opportunity to affect the lives of their students, and part a gentle how-to resource for recreating a successful community environment to support both academic and personal growth for students. So not only is this book for teachers, this is also like showing the growth of the students throughout the book, and it just helps those to help the students who are struggling. Okay, some of the information that is being discussed in this book. Each of the chapters, the author gives you teacher tools to help with dealing with each of the problems. So I gave an example here. It says some of these include: start with a relationship, provide welcome kits, making hellos and farewells official, provide a transition memento. So this section, the first section was saying welcomes and farewells, building community even in transition. So this section was talking about how to help those who are transitioning from one district to yours and how to make them feel welcomed even if they are scared. So starting with that relationship, building that relationship with that student, making sure they know that they are welcomed into your classroom with open arms. They don't have to be scared, that they are welcomed wherever they're coming from. Providing welcome kits. I mentioned the welcome kits provide just more welcoming to them, so they know that they are needed in that classroom. They should feel welcomed. Excuse me, I'm so sorry about that. Making hellos and farewells official, knowing that hello is really meaningful, and knowing that farewell, like saying I cannot wait to see you tomorrow, making that meaningful and knowing that that student is wanting to come back to school each day. And even if they are struggling with those hard times at home, that they have somewhere to come back to feel welcome and feel safe. And that providing a transition memento, knowing that they're just like, once again, transitioning from one county to another, knowing that they are safe and they have something that they can hold on to, and they so sorry. So provide a transition memento. In this one of the sections it says, whatever you choose as a transition memento, the departing student will feel cared about and appreciated. Students who leave your community. So if this is something that if somebody's leaving your community and going to another, they still have a little bit of part of you. Students who leave your community will have something to hold in their hands as a reminder that they are people who care about them and miss them. This is yet another way to provide a sense of closure for the rest of your students because as their friend leaves, a piece of their class community will be carried away with them. So just providing a small momentum, small tool for those kids either leaving or for their friends having somebody leave or somebody leaving their classroom, and they just can remember them each time they see that momentum. So those are all things that just one of the sections was talking about. Each of the other sections mentioned teacher tools for you to help those students with that section. So students in poverty, there's a teacher tools for those, including families in all their forms. So all 8 of the sections that were mentioned in the story gave you teacher tools and how to help those students within those sections. Assumptions. There's some assumptions that I had before reading this book, and I found out none of them were true. So it says some of the assumptions that I have made based off this book is that all students want to go home from school. Like they're ready to go home, thinking about their home, going home from school that gets them so excited. But based off what I read, I know this is not true because there was a card in one of the sections saying that there's a student wrote that she hated to go back to where she lived because it was a shelter, and every time she came to school, she had a hard time focusing because all she could think about is living in that shelter and just staying where she wanted to, or not going to back where she was living. So I found out that my assumption of all students want to go home was not true based off that little section of the note card that the student wrote. I also assume that students or that when students come to school, they feel happy to see their peers. I also found out that was not true. Another section of this book, a student mentioned that after a death of their dad, they felt more disconnected than ever with their peers. So dealing with grief puts that mindset into the student's brain that they are becoming more disconnected, dealing with the loss that they don't want to even mention to their peers, so they stay disconnected from them. So assumptions that being made from this story I found out were very untrue, and that students don't always feel happy going home or coming to school sometimes. Concept theories or ideas. An idea that was mentioned actually in the book near the end, just an idea about using this activity in classes, just doing it as many times as you would think that it would be helpful for your students. A quote in the book that says, students have triumphs, curiosities, and concerns they want to share with us. So do this as many times as the students want to share. Don't just make it a one-time thing, thinking that once one is done. No, just do it as many times as you think it would be helpful and that you think the students want to share. Maybe there was a time that something scary happened in class or in school, or something scary happened around the community that you feel like your student may want to share. That would be a great time to pull this in. Or just something that may have happened in their life that they may want to share and they feel safe sharing it with you. So just doing it as many times as you would want to do it with your students if you do this activity, as much as it would be helpful for their brains and their comfort, would be a great time just to do it. The point of view of this book is both from the teacher's point of view as well as the student's point of view. For the teacher, it would be, how can I help the student, and in what ways can the student have a better outlook on life and school with the help that I give them. And the student's point of view is, I wish my teacher knew this about me so I can get the help I needed. So the students would say what they wish the teacher would know, and maybe the teacher can provide the toolkits, provide the relationship that they need, just to help the students as they need it. And then last but not least, conclusions that I've made based off the book that I read. This book was an amazing book that helped me very much in my teachings. But never assume that your students are having the best life at home. Even if they come in with a smile on their face, they can be dealing with something so much worse at home. Use the teacher tools from the book so that you can always be prepared to help a student in need. So like I mentioned earlier, the teacher tools in this book were just helping you always be prepared in the situations that you really don't know how to handle, or really didn't know how to handle, but based off the story, you are learning how to handle. So always have those teacher toolkits, always have those relationships, build them, always be an open ear for those students. Just have the students know that you are always there for them, and they are always welcome with open arms for them to come to school. So this book is a great book for you to open your eyes about things that students may be dealing with and get a better knowledge of what you can do to help these students when they're going through this. So I hope you've learned quite a few things from me. If you have any questions, just please leave a comment. Thank you.